Hey guys, it's been a while since I've made a game development video. It's been well over 7 months since I've made my first video, and thought I'd gone back into game development, and what better way than showing you guys some of the prototypes I've made in a week. I wouldn't recommend making more than one prototype in a week, but for the sake of the video, I'd made one and also thought it would be a fun challenge. The first game I had was pretty much a click game where it was based off Kovacs Aim Trainer, and you have a health and it just goes down over time, and you have to hit the circles to gain health, and if you miss, you lose health. This was the first thing I worked on when I started the project, since it was just minusing the health value over time. And afterwards, I went into Photoshop, created myself a basic circle that I could use, and made it as a prefab in Unity and added a script on it. It actually took me a while to figure this out, but it pretty much instantiates and destroys the prefab every time you click on it. And when it spawned in a random position depending on the X and Y values using random.range. As you can see, it's not really doing anything to the health, so I made it once you click on the circle, it adds a small amount of HP, and when you miss it, it takes away some of your HP. I had a bit of time left to make it look fancy by adding the red flashing on the screen to make it look like I'm taking damage, and making the background a bit darker so it's much easier to see. I then worked on a timer so that the player knows how long they pretty much survived for, and in doing so I also made a best time at the top left, which shows you, well, your best time. This was done by using player prefs, and as you can see, once you surpass your previous best time, it will just keep going up until you have a new best time. On the last day of working on this, I added a small score system where it shows how many circles you've destroyed, and also duplicated the scenes so that there's different difficulties, easy, normal, and then hard. After this, I went into Photoshop and changed some of the colors and made the circle smaller so that it will suit the difficulty that they're in. To finish it off, I added audio all around when you click on the circle, when you miss, and a bit of background music, and the result of it came to this. Moving on to the second game prototype, I didn't really base it off any other game. The idea pretty much just popped up top of my head, but it's similar to a 2.5D platformer. But I had the idea of making it a top-down perspective rather than like a side scroller. I started off with some basic movement like jumping and the camera movement, since I wanted to get that out of the way. The movement felt a bit clunky since it was a bit basic, just using input.getAxis. But later on, I adjusted the rigid body, the gravity, and the mass scale to make it feel more natural. Next, I moved on to level designing, which I'm not really good at, so it took at least the whole day for me to make 5 levels where the player was able to jump through platforms. I even added a death trigger, so if the player were to fall off the map, they'd die and restart the level. After that, I made a fade in and out on the scene to make it look cool instead of instantly restarting the whole level. The following day, I worked on the enemy, which was pretty much just a turret that shoots in a forward direction. Nothing too fancy, it doesn't move or anything, it just shoots. I made it into a prefab and then placed it around the level, and then I made it instantiate a bullet every 3 seconds, which if it hits the player instantly dies and then restarts the level. Last day working on the project was pretty chill. I just worked on the main menu, having a world canvas and adding a button to it. I also made a level progression every time the player passes through the red plate. Also, I added some audio, and pretty much the result of it came to this. Anyways, that's pretty much what I wanted to share with you guys. Thanks if you watched all the way through. I plan on making a devlog series very soon, and probably some small tutorials along the way. But until then, I guess I'll see you next time. Peace.